Before we wrap up the episode, we have our Week 16 NFL picks. This is the first weekend of the year with Saturday games. We have 2 games on Saturday, and we are recording this Thursday before Thursday Night Football. If you are watching on YouTube, you are probably seeing this after the game, so surely we're going to nail this Thursday night game here in a matter of moments. But Braden, the Rams at the Seahawks tonight. Seattle is a 1.5-point home favorite with a 42.5-point over-under. Who do you like?
I'm going to take the Rams in this one, as well as the under. Sam Darnold absolutely melted down when these teams met earlier this year. He threw 4 interceptions. There's apparently going to be like 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts in this one, so kicking could be interesting. Throwing the football could be interesting as well. I think I would give the edge to the Rams running the football. Blake Corum looks like a great compliment to Kyron Williams now after about a year and a half of development. And I don't trust the Seattle run blocking enough. So I will take the Rams by a final score of 22-16.
And yeah, you mentioned the 4 Sam Darnold picks in that first matchup. Seattle still only lost by 2 despite that. I think not having Devontae Adams for the Rams is going to make a big difference, even in what might turn out to be a ground and pound game with that wind. I just don't see either team having a whole lot of success running the ball. I see a very low scoring game. I think Seattle's going to find a way to get it done. I will say they win and cover the 1.5. And I'll take the under as well in a 23-17 victory for the Seahawks. First game on Saturday, we have the Eagles at the Commanders. Philly is a 7-point road favorite with a 44.5-point over-under, Braden.
Yeah, the Commanders are going to have Marcus Mariota back for this one. They've shut down Jaden Daniels for the season. The Eagles' offense looked fairly solid last week, especially Saquon Barkley. But it was also the Raiders, and Jalen Hurts also refused to throw to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith for the vast majority of the game. That can't happen if they want to win on Saturday. With that being said, I'm still going to take the Eagles to win, but I think the Commanders cover fairly easily. I'm going to go with the Eagles in this one by a score of 24-23. I'll take the over as well since it's 44.5. And I'm going to go with a bonus prediction. I think Washington scores with under a minute to go, goes for 2, and does not convert. I think that's why this game ends in a 1-point score.
All right, you heard it here first. Without Jaden Daniels, I just don't see this game being particularly close. I'm starting Marcus Mariota at my Superflex in our semifinal matchup in one of our Dynasty leagues. So hopefully he scores a couple times. But I just don't see this game being particularly close. I think Eagles win. I think they cover the 7 points as well on the road. I'm going to say Philly 31, Washington 17. So I'll take the over as well. And then the other Saturday game, a much better one, presumably, than that first one. We have Packers at the Bears. Green Bay is a 1.5-point road favorite with a 46.5-point over-under. Who gets it done here, Braden?
I'm going to take the Packers in this one as slight underdogs. I will take the under as well. The weather in Chicago is, I think, going to be relatively similar to what it was last week, which plays into the under. Both these teams have better offenses than the Browns, who put up 3 points last week. But I don't think that it's going to be a very high-scoring game by any stretch of the imagination, especially considering the Bears will be without both Rome Odunze and Luther Burden. This needs to be a DJ Moore legacy game, and I don't think it will be because he's kind of disappeared way too often this year, including when Odunze has been out recently. So with that being said, I will take the Packers in this one by a score of 21-17 to sweep the Bears.
Yeah, and you mentioned DJ Moore. I would be expecting a lot of Colston Loveland in this game as well, without those 2 receivers. No Micah Parsons for Green Bay cancels that out a little bit. I think Parsons is certainly the bigger loss. But I'm with you. I think this is going to be a much lower scoring game than a couple weeks ago. I shouldn't say much lower scoring. My final score prediction is 23-20. But it just feels like the Bears are starting to figure things out. So I will take them to win outright. And with that 23-20 final score, the under would hit as well, hypothetically. The Vikings at the Giants up next. The Vikings are 3-point road favorites with a 43.5-point over-under, Braden.
Yeah, speaking of starting to figure things out, I think J.J. McCarthy is also starting to figure things out. He's strung together back-to-back really impressive games. His only mistake really has been the tipped interception, which, I mean, I can't fully blame on him, in part because he wasn't tall enough to even bat the ball down compared to, I think, whoever it was for Dallas who ended up tipping it. He's had a great, I think, I want to say his passer rating or his PFF grade, one of the two has been like top five in the NFL over the last 2 weeks. So that's a really positive sign. Jackson Dart also looks like he could be a franchise quarterback in New York. This is kind of a sneaky, fun, under the radar game for this week. I'm going to take the Vikings in this one to win and cover as road favorites. I'll take the over as well by the slimmest of margins and go with a 27-17 final score in favor of Minnesota.
Well, we've had a difference of opinions more so this week than we have in recent weeks. I'm going to take the Giants. I will say, though, like you mentioned, JJ McCarthy has been playing very, very well this past couple of weeks, albeit against two bad defenses in Washington and Dallas. But the Giants were my best bet of the week last week, and they let me down. I'm going to take them again this week to win. I say they win outright, and I think the over will just narrowly hit in a 24-21 victory for New York. Next up, we have the Bills at the Browns. Buffalo is a 10.5-point road favorite with a 41.5-point over-under. Who do you like?
I'm going to take Buffalo in this one. The Browns' offense looks horrendous, with the exception of Harold Fannin looking good. The offensive line can't run block at all. Teams are stacking the box a ton. So Quinshon Judkins has not even averaged 2 yards per carry in either of the last two games. And he is undoubtedly, in my mind, the most talented player on this Browns offense. I don't think he'll be able to get going given the nature of this matchup. I think James Cook has a field day. I wouldn't be shocked if he puts up, 150 plus yards and multiple touchdowns, which I would love for fantasy. I've got him in a couple of leagues here in the playoffs. But with that being said, I will take the Bills to win and cover. I will take the under in this game. I think it'll be fairly low scoring ish. And I will say Buffalo wins it by a score of 23-3.
And I have a very similar thought process to you on this one. I think the only good thing that might come from this game for the Browns is Myles Garrett getting the all-time sack record, but that is it. The Bills are coming off of a huge win against New England. They're riding high. I think this is a blowout just like you. I'm going to say they win and cover with the under hitting in a 27-10 Buffalo victory. Up next, we've got the Chargers at the Cowboys. Dallas is a 2.5-point home favorite with a 49.5-point over-under grade.
Yeah, this has all the makings of a trap line. I would consider the Chargers being more than a half-point favorite on a neutral field. So with that being said, with them being 2.5-point dogs, it makes me think that Dallas wins this one. However, I'm going to take the bait, and I will go with the LA Chargers to win and cover as road underdogs. I will take the over as well, because every Cowboys game seems to go over. And I will go with a final score of LA 30, Dallas 26.
And this is going to be my best bet of the week. I'm not sure Dallas is going to be able to keep up with the Chargers. Their defense just really has not gotten better. At least their secondary has not gotten better. Their run defense has. But LA has shut down the Eagles and the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks. I think they stay hot. I think they get a road win in Dallas. I will say the over hits as well. I will say 27-24 in favor of the Chargers. Up next, we have the Week 16 shit stain of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs are included in the shit stain of the week this week. They are at the Tennessee Titans. The Chiefs are 3.5-point road favorites without Patrick Mahomes, and the over-under in this one is a whopping 37.5 points. Braden, who wins it?
Yeah, first things first, I thought this was going to be the check your pants after you fart game of the week. But with that being said, even with a backup quarterback, the Chiefs are still significantly better than Tennessee. Cam Ward's help refuses to help him whatsoever. I don't know if you saw that great play he made where he threw it to a wide open Shimmery DK after scrambling around for about 8 seconds, hit DK in the chest, and he just dropped it. So, given the state of affairs in Nashville, I will take the Chiefs by a score of 23-13. The under will hit by a slim margin, and the Chiefs will cover.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I think even without Mahomes, Kansas City's just a better team. This game is going to suck, so please don't watch it. But I think Kansas City's going to find a way to squeak one out. I guess not really squeak one out. I got them winning by a touchdown, but I'm going to say the Chiefs win and cover, and I will take the under in a 21-13 victory for Kansas City. Up next, we've got the Bengals at the Dolphins. Quinn Ewers will be starting for Miami with Tua getting sent to the bench. The Bengals are 4.5-point road favorites with a 47.5-point over-under, Braden.
Yeah, this is probably my second best bet of the week. I think the Bengals beat the brakes off of Miami in this one. I didn't see enough of Quinn Ewers at Texas that made me think he'd be a competent NFL quarterback. And now, I mean, he does get a favorable matchup against a pretty poor Bengals defense. But we also saw this Bengals defense shut down Lamar on Thanksgiving just a couple of weeks ago. It's a very tough situation for Quinn Ewers to be put into, where he's got Jalen Waddle and pretty much nobody else to throw the ball to, with all due respect to Darren Waller. So I'll take the Bengals in this one by a comfortable margin, a final score of 34-13, and I'm going to be barely on the side of the under.
And yeah, this was my second best bet of the week as well. I went very back and forth between this one and the Chargers game. As bad as the Bengals defense has been and is currently, I'm not going to pick a day three rookie making his first start to come in and beat them. I think the Bengals are going to have no problem scoring in this game. I took a week off of the 20 plus fantasy point guarantee. I needed to reset, get my affairs in order. But Jamar Chase is this week's 20 plus fantasy point guarantee. I think he has a massive, massive game. I will take Cincinnati to win and cover with the under just narrowly hitting in a 27-14 victory for the Bengals. The Week 16 check your pants after you fart game. You mentioned you thought it was going to be Kansas City and Tennessee. It was very, very close between that and the Jets at the Saints. The Saints are 5.5-point home favorites with a 40.5-point over under, Braden.
Yeah, all I can say about this game is that if you're a dynasty owner and you've been holding on to Audric Estime for the last 2 years, this is the guy with the diamond mining meme where there's the diamonds at the end of the tunnel finally. This might be the one game he has the rest of his career where he's fantasy relevant. Or maybe it's Evan Hull that gets the lion's share of the opportunities. Either way, I will not be watching this game. I will be hoping and praying that Chris Olave has a good game because I need him for fantasy purposes. But with that being said, give me the Saints to win, but the Jets to cover and the under as well. I will take the Saints by a score of 16-13.
I also need Olave to have a good game, and the matchup I'm against you in, funny enough. So that might be a potential win-lose situation for you. But another week of Brady Cook for the Jets on the road. That just sounds like a recipe for disaster. I mean, not like there's really a true disaster scenario left for the Jets. That's kind of out the window. But I'll say the Saints win and cover at home. I will say Saints final score of 21-13. So the under would hit there as well. An NFC South divisional battle with the top two teams in the division, both at 7-7. The Bucks at the Panthers. Tampa Bay is a 3-point road favorite with a 45.5-point over under. Who wins this one, Braden?
Yeah, I think the 2025 Panthers are the anti James Franklin. They lose the games they should win, and they win the games they should lose. Case in point, the last 2 weeks, since they were 3-point underdogs here, they're going to win on Sunday. I will take the Panthers 24-20.
I got very little to add. This is a team, the Panthers are a team that play to the level of their competition. They beat the Rams a couple weeks ago. They lose to the Saints after their bye week. The Bucks are probably the better team on paper, which is exactly why Carolina will win. I will take them to win outright with the over in a 24-23, just barely squeaking it out victory for the Panthers. Maybe the best game of the weekend, the Jaguars at the Broncos. Broncos are a 3-point home favorite with a 47.5-point over under, Braden.
Yeah, this game should tell us which team is more fraudulent. I know you're on the Jags side of things. I'm probably on the Broncos side of things here. So with that being said, I'm sure we'll have split picks. I'm taking the Jags 29-20.
We do indeed have split picks. I am joined by Puka Nacua on the Jacksonville Jaguars fraud train. I don't know if anybody has seen that clip. I know I sent it to you, but he was on the same wavelength as I am. So I need the Jags to get their shit rocked this week to make myself look good. Both quarterbacks in this game are coming off their best games of their NFL careers. However, I think Trevor Lawrence is in for a very rude awakening going from the Jets defense to the Broncos defense. I will take Denver to win and cover the 3 points, which is just a horrible line. And I will say Denver 24-20 as the final score. So the under would hit there as well. Falcons at the Cardinals. Atlanta is another 3-point line. Atlanta is a 3-point road favorite with a 48.5-point over under. Who do you like here, Braden?
I think the Cardinals win this one, and I think the over hits as well. My best bet of the week is going to be over 48.5. I'm going to go Arizona 31-27. And I think the funniest subplot of this game is that people are going to be rooting for Marvin Harrison Jr. and Drake London to both miss this game because Michael Wilson and Kyle Pitts have been unbelievable for fantasy. Imagine going back to like week 2 or 3, or even the summer, I guess, and telling people that people would be hoping the top, two of the top 20 receivers in fantasy football drafts are just going to sit out this game. Insane to think about.
Yeah, and I need Drake London pretty badly. I've got him in a couple of leagues. And yeah, with Kyle Pitts, I was against him and Travis Etienne in a league last week. So safe to say I am eliminated. But I think this is going to be a sneaky fun game to watch. These are two teams that are out of it and have really nothing left to lose. The initial reporting is that Drake London should be back this week. I know he was at practice yesterday. I don't know what he did today. It sounds like Marv is going to be out, though. I'm just not sure that Arizona is going to be able to keep up. If Drake London is healthy, that is. I'm going on the basis that he's playing. So I will take the Falcons to win. And the line, like I said, sucks at -3. I will say Atlanta covers that with the over as well. I will say final score of Atlanta 28, Arizona 24. Up next, we've got the Steelers and the Lions, both teams that desperately need a win. Detroit is a 7-point home favorite with a 52.5-point over under. Braden.
Yeah, I think Detroit's offense is clicking really well right now. Pittsburgh is just incredibly inconsistent. But the one thing they are consistent about is finishing with 8 losses in a season. They need to lose this game in order to make it easier to finish 9-8, and I think they will indeed. I'll take the Lions to win and cover, and I will take the over as well. I'm going to go Detroit 38, Pittsburgh 21.
Jahmyr Gibbs either goes for less than 100 yards and no touchdowns or 200 yards and like 3 touchdowns. He did not score last week, and I believe he was held to under 100 yards. So maybe I should have made him my 20-plus fantasy point guarantee. But it was I think Detroit's going to win this one. I think they're due. They put up 34 on the Rams last week, which is more than a lot of teams can say. Maybe any team can say. I'm not sure, to be honest. But I do think the Steelers will cover, and I will just narrowly take the under with a final score of Detroit 27-24. We've got the Raiders at the Texans, maybe the coldest team in football versus the hottest team in football. Texans are a 14.5-point favorite with a 37.5-point over under. Braden, who do you like?
Well, first off, I want to give myself some flowers and take a victory lap because I correctly predicted that the Raiders would get shut out last week, which I don't know what the betting odds on that were, but they had to have been like plus, probably close to plus like 5,000, maybe like plus 3,000 at least. So if I'd bet it, I would be a semi-rich man, but alas, I did not. The Raiders are the first team to be shut out twice in the season since the 2000 Cleveland Browns. And with how many bad Cleveland Browns teams there have been in the last 25 years, that is an incredibly impressive feat. With that being said, I will take the Texans to win and cover. I will take the under as well. I'm going to go with the final score of 27-9. I think the Raiders do get into the points column this week, but I don't think they score a touchdown. I think it's 3 field goals from Daniel Carlson.
I have 4 words worth of notes for this game. Raiders suck, Texans don't. So I'm going to take the Texans to win. I will take them to cover as well. I will say final score of 27-7 in favor of Houston. On Sunday night, we've got the Patriots at the Ravens. Baltimore is a 3-point home favorite with a 48.5-point over under. Braden.
Yeah, with the news that Lamar Jackson did practice today after missing yesterday, I feel comfortable picking Baltimore in this one. They've been a little bit hot and cold this year, but I also think that the Patriots aren't quite as good as their record says they are. They've had a lot of, easy opponents at this point, and they blew a big lead against Buffalo last week. I think that negative momentum carries forward into this game. So I will take Baltimore in this one by a final score of 31-24. So Baltimore wins and covers, and then the over hits as well.
Well, this is definitely the most discrepancy we've had in picking games so far. I'm going to take the Patriots, but I do think it'll be close. This is a Ravens defense that really came alive last week. We both predicted shutouts to happen. You correctly predicted one, but we did not predict them to shut out Joe Burrow and the Bengals. The Pats, you mentioned that loss to the Bills. I think that's going to add a little bit of a sense of urgency to stay atop the AFC East. So I think they respond with a big win in Baltimore. I will say final score New England 28, Baltimore 24. So the over would hit in that scenario as well. And then Monday night, we have the 49ers at the Colts. San Francisco is a 6-point road favorite with a 46.5-point over under. Who do you like here?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the Colts looked good last week, but they still almost upset Seattle as 2 touchdown underdogs on the road. I think Indianapolis gets this one done at home against the Niners. The Niners have been pretty hot recently, but Philip Rivers is just going to pull one of these games out of his ass, and I'm going to say it's this one. So I would go with the Colts by a score of 19-17. The under will hit by a fairly comfortable margin as well.
And yeah, I mean, Philip Rivers looked pretty damn good for a 44-year-old last week. San Francisco has won 4 straight, so I do think this will be a very close game. I think it's going to come down to which defense can hold up better. And frankly, even without potentially Sauce Gardner, my money's on Indianapolis in this one. So I'm going to say that they win outright in a low-scoring game. You said 19-17. I'm going to say 20-17 as the final score in that one.